Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of eDiscovery After Hours. This is not just another episode, this is landmark episode number 50. It is hard to believe that we are here, but we finally get to talk to the guy who's been paying for this show for all these years. And that would be Ray Biederman, the CEO and co-founder of Proteus Discovery Group. Ray and his partners are commercial litigators. Ray also acts as eDiscovery counsel for a number of clients. So it was a lot of fun to talk to him about why Yo-Yo Ma was his first concert in sixth grade and who he told his friends he went to go see instead. We talk about how he got into the legal world to begin with during his undergraduate years and how we should all feel about generative AI in eDiscovery. So this was really fun to go on site in downtown Indy and shoot with Ray. I hope you guys mix up a great old fashioned and listen in. Thanks for tuning in.
Quick time!
You don't know how to drink, your whole generation.
Drinks on the house.
Yes, sir.
No, wait a second. Drinks are 50% off.
Right.
No, wait a second. Double the price of everything.
And I work only 16 hours a day.
A union man only works 8 hours a day.
I belong to 2 unions.
And now, eDiscovery After Hours with your host, Ryan Short.
Ray Biederman, welcome to eDiscovery After Hours.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, what are we drinking?
Well, we are at one of my favorite places. It's called The Exchange here on the beautiful Massachusetts Avenue in Indianapolis, Indiana.
B-roll footage.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is called the Executive Old Fashioned. And so make a old fashioned and then they infuse it with smoke. And they bring it out and it's a whole presentation. It's great.
It smells magical.
Yeah.
It tastes even better.
Yes.
Are you an old fashioned guy? What's your drink of choice?
Yeah. So I love a good old fashioned. I also love a Manhattan.
Yeah.
And I also love just bourbon without anything else in it. So there you go.
Well played. For those who have been following the show for a while, you're the guy who's been paying for this show for the last couple of years. So cheers to you, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for that.
Yeah. Now I finally know what I've been paying for.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, oh, I'm glad you're a routine listener. That's good.
Yeah. That's sort of first time listener. Sorry, many time listener.
Yeah. All right. So this is like landmark episode 50 territory. So this is a big one. Excited to have you on. I'm going to put you through the paces. All right.
All right.
So we're going to do like a little lightning round, get to know you,
Sure.
and then we're going to dive into your story. So, first concert that you ever attended?
First concert. Well, so Yo-Yo Ma with the Chicago Symphony. I was in sixth grade. I went to it and I lied to everybody and said that I went to a Nirvana concert, but it's okay. It was Yo-Yo Ma.
Yeah. There was some maybe some cello backing on the Nevermind album. Who knows?
There you go. Yeah. Very light cello.
Some context for those who don't know. Why was a sixth grade boy's first concert Yo-Yo Ma?
Yeah, so I'm a classically trained musician. I have a bachelor's degree in music, and I just always loved classical music.
Yeah. All right, that was your first concert.
Right.
Favorite concert?
Favorite concert. So I went to this place here in Indy called the Hi-Fi, and I saw a band that not super well known, but just absolutely great show. It's called the Rural Alberta Advantage, and it was just a phenomenal show. They came out into the audience playing a song. It was great.
Yeah, that was recently, right? In the last year or two?
Last year or two, yeah.
That's high praise. Post-COVID live music.
Yeah,
That's
that was
excellent.
awesome.
Very good. Okay. Favorite vacation spot?
Well, that is tough. So the by the amount of money I've spent, it'd probably be Disney World, right?
Yes.
But that's that's family stuff. I'd have to say, man, that's really tough. So
We have the hard-hitting questions on
yeah,
Discovery
this
After
is
Hours.
I wasn't prepped for this.
Yeah.
So we went to Mexico last fall. That was just a phenomenal vacation.
Yeah.
I'd do that again tomorrow.
Am I allowed to ask which part, or is that redacted?
That's redacted.
Okay. Is it pronounced GIF or GIF?
Well, technically, or what I say?
Both.
I say GIF.
Okay,
Yeah, I know a lot of people are on the GIF team,
that's wrong.
but that's like peanut butter.
The wrong team.
Yeah.
Yes. This was inspired by the Colbert questionnaire, you
Yeah.
know, where he asks his guests like you are known.
Yeah.
And one of the questions is apples or oranges. And he makes it very clear that oranges is the wrong answer and Jif is the wrong answer.
Yeah.
Jif is a peanut butter.
It's a peanut. That's it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Crunchy, smooth. I don't know.
Yeah. No, nobody knows.
Yeah.
All right. Final question here is what is the most used app on your phone?
Most used app on my phone has got to be Outlook.
Oh, that's a boring answer. Strike
Yeah,
that.
okay.
What's the second most used app on your phone?
LinkedIn.
All right, this is getting worse.
Yeah. Third is text messaging.
Yeah.
Because so I tell this joke. There are like 8.4 billion text messages sent every day.
Mhm.
And I say I know this because 8.3 billion of them are from my wife.
Well played.
So yeah.
Yeah,
So I guess that's
That-
probably the most used.
that's what qualifies as CLE humor right there. That is your score. Your delivery score just went up 2 points.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that wasn't that the quality level of this?
No comment.
Okay.
All right. So what's your backstory? How did you get into the legal world to begin? We'll get to
Yeah.
eDiscovery in a second. How did you end up in the law?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's kind of the same story. I was an undergrad and I had to pay for music school. And so I got a job as an intern at a law firm here in Indianapolis. And I happened to, my whole job was to print out emails, scan them in, and then code the to from, date, and anything that I wanted to about the email.
Cutting edge.
Cutting edge stuff for 2004.
Yep.
And so I did that. And then the year I finished music school, I was looking for a job. And like a bunch of music teaching jobs were cut across the state. So I decided, maybe I'll just go to law school.
Take out some debt. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And so let's go, man. And so I did. I went to law school, and then the rest is history.
Excellent. All right. So then tell me about the transition then from big law to launching multiple companies. You've started a law firm. You've started an eDiscovery services, a consulting company. You've developed software.
Yeah.
Where did this entrepreneurial bug come from?
Desperation? No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. So I was in big law, and I enjoyed it. It was a lot of hard work all the time, as many of your listeners probably know.
Yep.
And so I just saw kind of a niche in the market for Midwest-based, like, small law. And so we had four of us who were all big law litigators who thought we could do the same kind of thing at a different price point.
Yep.
For people in Indianapolis and maybe some other Midwest markets. Around that same time, I was getting calls from a lot of headhunters wanting me to go into eDiscovery like full time.
Like
And
as a
so-
general manager for a branch location.
Yeah. Middle management,
Yeah.
And so
I take offense with that statement.
sorry. So I said, well, if there are all these other companies that really see something in Indianapolis, then why not do it ourselves? And so that's where the idea for Proteus came from.
Yeah. Which has expanded well beyond Indianapolis at this point.
Yeah, Midwest. We got East Coast, West Coast, North, South. We've been everywhere.
We are in every time zone.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well,
Absolutely crazy.
every time zone in the United States.
Yeah.
There's more.
We are in 20 of 24 time zones.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like it.
Yes, that's right. 60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got kind of a unique episode this week, right? We are in person, which has happened once or twice before.
Yeah.
And I usually just kind of let the conversation meander, but I want to put you on the spot. And I want to ask you, I want to ask you some questions about all of the hype that generative AI has been getting. So you came in not only before the 2015 rule amendments, but you came in before, what was it, 06, I think the first rules were published?
Yeah.
So you're an OG, right? Or at least close.
Close.
So I want to kind of unpack this because I'm sure that you've seen some themes from other technological innovations that have taken over. So I want to pick your brain a little bit.
All right.
All right. So
Meaning he has some questions already drafted up.
I already drafted some
and
questions.
hopefully I have the answers.
Well, now this is show magic. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a very organic conversation, right? All right. So there are warring camps, right? In every kind of tech innovation. You have the early adopters and you have the laggards, and you've got everything. So there are people right now, if you get on LinkedIn, it's Gen AI is a magic wand. It's going to eliminate tier 1 review.
Yep.
And then you have people in the other camp who are saying you cannot trust this stuff. We have seen case law be hallucinated. We have seen courts say you cannot be using Gen AI.
Yeah.
You know, there is a broad spectrum of how people are thinking about this technology right now. So what do you see as the pro and con arguments that are the most compelling?
Yeah. So pro is, I mean, there's clearly going to be a lot of time savings that can happen in the right application. And so some of the things you need to think about is how to engineer those prompts in such a way that you're getting the right answer the first time, or you're getting the right answer every time. Yeah. That's going to take a lot of unique work. And you know, that's something that I think practitioners in eDiscovery are uniquely suited to do. I think we're going to see an evolving of project managers, and those project managers are going to be the people that drive adoption, but also drive generating all of these prompts that need to be generated. You know, some of the limitations that you see right now have to do with speed and costs.
Yeah.
You can't get the documents through fast enough, and it's really expensive every time that you run the search.
Right.
So,
and for those who don't understand the cost, what you're talking about there, most of the commercial models seem to be coalescing around there's a cost per document, right? When you run one of these things through.
yeah,
And if you iterate your prompt, if you add a comma, you're hitting now the same cost on that document.
yeah. So that's something that's got to be looked at for sure. With regard to the case law and the hallucinating and all that stuff, that's absolutely true. But that's true with anything. That's true with the first year associate, right? You're going to have people that are putting together answers and they're the wrong answer. But that's where the attorney's judgment comes in.
Yeah.
You can't rely on it. You got to trust but verify.
Right.
So that's going to be a big part of what we see. Its application in eDiscovery, I think, is uniquely suited for AI applications. In the rest of the law, I think that we're still going to have a decent amount of work that attorneys are going to have to do to make sure that what's being said is right and, you know, cases actually exist.
Well, at the end of the day, as you said, it's attorney judgment. That's what you get paid for, right? Just judgment as a litigator.
At least that's what you bill for.
Yeah, that's true. Another objection that you'll hear somewhat frequently is the concern about bias, right? And these things have biases in-baked, and it's hard to police them. And if we don't understand the black box, then I can't go out and defend it.
Yeah.
How do you handle somebody who's coming at you with a question like that?
Yeah, great question. I guess, you know, my response to that is there's probably some bias in even asking the question, but we all have bias. Everything has some sort of bias to it. I think that the response to that is managing the bias is key. So understanding how the model is created is important. Not every lawyer needs to understand that, though, because you know, not every lawyer understands how an email goes through a system.
Right.
They know that it does. They know that it gets there, but we don't have to describe in court how the email goes to a server and then gets sent and gets decrypted and all of those steps in the process. It is important for people developing these tools, though, to have robust documentation of how they're developed. And as they continue to evolve that documentation, and taking a look at those things will be important in order to justify any project.
Yeah.
It's the same thing you have to do when you have tier 1 reviewers put together, you know, a decision log. We made this decision and this is why we made this decision, and be able to defend that in court. It's the same thing that has to happen here.
That makes a lot of sense. So another question that I have is, or that I have fielded a fair bit, is the concern that this technology is going to inhibit a lot of the really important development that happens early in an attorney's career, right? When a lot of what they're doing is in the realm of discovery and reviewing documents and kind of analyzing these things.
Yeah.
And we're saying, hey, we're taking all of this super important work that people do the first 1 or 2 or 3 years of their practice away. What is that going to mean for attorneys 5 to 10 years from now? How are they going to bridge that gap?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same thing that I used to hear about having contract attorneys do doc review.
Yeah.
Exactly the same argument.
Which is not even a technological innovation. That's just a necessity of the market, right? Because of costs.
Yeah. And the amount of data that we're seeing is not shrinking. In fact, it's going exponentially the other way. And so we need ways to manage and cull that data. I don't know how much value a first-year associate drives by clicking not responsive on 2,000 Priceline.com emails, but maybe there's something. I think that the real value and what makes attorneys better is thinking about, analyzing, and writing about the law. And the faster we can get people to doing that, as opposed to reviewing not responsive documents, is 10 times better for development and will enhance our legal community instead of lower it.
Yeah, it's substance and strategy, right? Not just brute force. I think, as an outsider, as a non-attorney who came into this space 4 years ago, I find it interesting that we collect millions of documents. Oftentimes, we review tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of them, and then like 6 of them are end up what we care about in deposition or trial.
Yeah.
So yeah, to your point of getting to the meat of the matter, and those analysis skills, back again to judgment. That's what your client is hiring you for.
Well, that's the whole point of the eDiscovery process, is to, as quickly as possible, get to the important documents.
Yeah.
And all we're doing is we're creating more and more documents that maybe are important, but probably aren't important to any given case. And so we need new techniques and new processes in order to get to those documents as fast as possible.
Yeah. We talked a little bit earlier about cost and some of those concerns as this technology develops and the commercial models develop. And frankly, not a single person listening to this understands where that is all going right now. What are some of the use cases that you think this is potentially cost effective today? What are some areas, maybe 1 or 2 instances in which you would say, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, I think this is something that we should try, and here's what.
Yeah. Great question. I think incoming productions are an ideal use case for this. We'll have document sets that are already pulled down to what some people are saying are responsive.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we're really getting into the nitty gritty of what's important and what's not important.
Yeah.
I think that's a great use case for the technology today.
I'm gonna throw a wild card at you.
Okay.
You don't know this one is coming.
No, I didn't know any of these were coming, right?
That's right. There are not notes over here.
Yeah.
Am I right?
No notes.
No notes. No notes. All right. How do you think, or do you think that the use of Gen AI should be negotiated during a 26F? Do you think that it should be in an ESI protocol? Is this just part of the ethics rules, or the producing party is best suited to determine how something should be produced? I mean, there's so many different factors here.
Yeah.
How much of this needs to be pre-discussed and explicitly approved versus how much do you think, hey, we're good to do this, we're covered by the existing framework?
Yeah, so I'll give
And
you
if that question doesn't make sense, tell me and we can rephrase it.
No. Question makes sense. I'm going to give you the lawyer answer. It depends.
Yeah.
So I think if you are relying on Gen AI to do an initial review for production, you got to talk about it. And it's always better to talk about it and get to a solution than to not talk about it and have someone else find out, and then the parade of horribles happens after that. Yeah. And then you have a piece of case law with your name on it. So, best to avoid that as much as possible. I think that if you're reviewing documents you get, the world's your oyster as far as that goes. There are certain applications that I think, if you're doing an internal investigation, there's no one else to talk to you about it. You just get to the documents.
Yep.
You know, if you're in a traditional, you know, two-sided litigation, it's probably best to have that conversation.
Very good. What are the things? What's the dog that didn't bark? What did I neglect to ask you about on this episode?
You know, it's a good question. I'm sure there's a lot that you didn't ask. You didn't ask how the drink was.
Oh, it's excellent. I don't
It
need
is-
to ask.
yeah.
Stipulated. That's
No,
a lawyer word.
That is well done.
Another
Yeah.
thing.
Wow. It only took you 4 years.
Just a little over 4.
And you got it.
Yeah, nailed
So
it.
congrats, dude.
When
Cheers.
when in Rome.
Yeah.
Cheers.